Today is the 9th of November, Saturday, 2024. Very, very auspicious day. It's the second Gopastami. We always have two Gopastamis in the month of Kartik. The first is when Krishna takes out the calves, and the second is when the calves actually become cows. They're basically the same group. They won't go with anyone else once Krishna's taken them. So we'll discuss this, and it's also the Tirobhava it's also Go Puja, worship of the cow today, and it's also the Tirobhava of Gadadhara Das and Dananjaya Pandit and Srinivasa Acarya. So we'll discuss all these topics today, these personalities, and we'll have our kirtan first, and then we'll see how we go. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Sachinanda, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinanda, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinanda, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinanda, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Radha, Damodara Radha, Damodara Radha, Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radha, Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radha, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, 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 Jai Shishi Guru Garanga and Havaka Kiritari, Radha Damodar Ju Ki Jai, Jai Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sarashishimad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Shila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Bharantaracharya Ki Jai, Jai Shila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Narottam Srinivasa Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai, Jai Shila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai, Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Dasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai, Rupa Nuga Guru Varagya Ki Jai, Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai, Namacharya Shilhardas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sika Holsi Krishna, Jaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Anta Dvip, Mayapur, Simanta Dvip, Gautam Dvip, Madhya Dvip, Kola Dvip, Ritu Dvip, Jana Dvip, Modam Dvip, Ruta Dvip, Atmaka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Baduravan, Bandiravan, Belvan, Lopavan, Mahavan, Madhuvan, Talvan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, Vrindavan, Kadyavan, Kamyavan, Brajamandal Ki Jai, Jai Shishi Radha, Krishna Gopa, Gopi Go, Govardhan Dwara Savarmatmika, Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radhakund Shamakund Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai, Ketramandal Ki Jai, Sarava Vigna Vanasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Charidam Ki Jai, Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai, Charya Ki Jai, Akara Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Shri Keshav Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. Om Aginati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadavaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Priya Sarupe Daita Sarupe Prema Sarupe Sahajva Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Svadva Sarupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavart Nokala Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvalarasam Svabhakti Shriyam Haripurata Sundarata Dikatamba Satapita Sadahridare Kandaresvaratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantamana Petiam Apeti Krityam Vaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabopinidustam Sarabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshmi Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Varadram Tatoma Manastikatina Kapi Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Naimam Sharanantikam. I first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Om, Astol Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishna Om, Astol Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord. My Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubevacha, patitanam pavanibhyo, Vaishnaveyo. So, yes, exceptional day. Second Gopastami, and Krishna today transitions in his age, because in the Brahma Vimohan Lila, which starts when Krishna is in his Kaumara, Balya, childhood age. Krishna has 4 ages. Balya Kumara is 1, and then Poganda, 2nd, and then Kishora, 3rd, and then Yovana, eternal youthful form. Krishna doesn't even have a beard when he's 70, 80 years old. He's always looking like a youth, Nava Yovana, ever fresh. So, yes, during that Brahma Vimohan Lila, it began when Krishna was in Balya Lila. And then there was the beautiful pastime on the previous Gopastami, when Krishna is demanding that he goes out taking the young calves grazing. And it's a whole drama, because Mother Yashoda is absolutely adamant that he will not go out in that deep, dark forest just with a few cowherd boys and the cows. She's absolutely not going to let him go. So there's a big confrontation, and a big council is called. Upananda is there, Abhinanda, Nanda Baba, all the elder Gopas are there, all discussing whether or not Krishna should take the responsibility. Krishna's only about 3.5, 4 years old. But of course, at that time, a 3.5, 4-year-old child was much bigger than he is today. So more mature, it's a different conception, but he was certainly younger than 5 years old. And finally, Krishna got his way, and they allowed him to take the calves. And on the first day out, Krishna's with his sakas, his cowherd boyfriends, and they're so excited to be getting away from everybody so they can just freely play in the forest. But they can't get away, because every single house they come to on the way, they stop and they have to do arti to them. They have to offer, mantras on them, and they're trying to get away. And gradually, practically about lunchtime, they manage to make it out towards the forest. And as soon as they get into the forest, then these elderly gopis come and say, now we all sit down in 2 lines and we're going to feed you. So straight away, they're under the authority. So they're trying to escape this, this is their plan. And then after that, then they get a little bit of time to play. But then again, they're called back to the village of Braj. Of course, the Brijbasis cannot live without Krishna. This for them is a big thing, to have Krishna out of their sight in an unknown place in the forest. The forest is very deep, dark. All kinds of demons are running around. Already Putanas come. Already Trinabratas come. Already Shakatasuras come. They have not sure who might else come from Kamsa. But then the Brahma, the Mohan Lila takes place after Krishna kills Aghasura. And we remember the pastime, the soul of Aghasura merges into the foot of Krishna, and Lord Brahma becomes bewildered by that, thinking, who is this mystical personality? So he says, I will test my mystic potency on him, which is inspired by Yogamaya, because Krishna wants this pastime to happen for many, many reasons. It's a beautiful, pivotal pastime. But during this pastime, when Krishna takes the form of all the sakhas and all the calves also, absolute, total replicas, their mothers can't tell the difference. And for one whole year, and of course Balaram's not here on this particular day. Balaram's actually distinctly omitted, because Krishna knows that if Balaram knew that he was going to manifest as all the cowherd boys, he would run back and tell Mother Yashoda, and then Krishna would be in trouble. So he doesn't want Balaram to know. So for that whole year, and then of course Purnamasi declares, now Krishna is coming into his Pauganda age. So understand this Pauganda age, I guess you could call it, I was looking up the ages of adolescence in our time, and it says between 12 and 19. But I think adolescence in Krishna's age is from about 6 till about 10, because then he goes into his Kishori age. So what would you call that? Teenage? Preteen, yeah, like that. Yeah. So, and he transforms his whole body. His feet become more sort of large and solid. His thighs and shins become more narrow and streamlined. His waist becomes more narrow. His chest becomes broader. And he walks slower with confidence. It's like a child runs everywhere. You see them. They run. They've got their mind in front of them and they just run to where they go. But all of a sudden, it's like it's described in Ananda Vrindavan Champu, how all the gopis and the gopas, the cowherd boys, they're playing together in the dust more or less. And then just practically overnight, they all start looking at each other and thinking, wow, you're really beautiful. These thoughts had never come into their minds before. And then they start having shy glances, walking much more slowly, all of them. And their speech is slower, more precise, more exact. So this is like the transition from the Komara, when Krishna is chubby cheeks, chubby limbs, and these all streamlined down in the Pauganda age. And then Krishna, those same calves that Krishna took out have now become cows, and some of them are even mothers. And they absolutely refuse to go with anyone else except Krishna. The cowherd boys try to put them in different groups, but they absolutely refuse to go. They just break free and they come back with Krishna. Krishna loves the cows so much. There's many pastimes about the cows. Krishna loves them so much. There are, I want to describe to you today from this Artha Darshani, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because it's Gopastami today, Go Puja. We should talk about the cows. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the Yugal Geet, this is the 35th chapter, I think. Let's check it. 35th chapter, yes. And you can mark it down, 35th chapter, and it's in the 19th verse. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the cows, which is fascinating to appreciate today. He says, for each of the 4 colors of cows, white, red, black, and yellow. There's actually 125 groups of cows, and he's going to divide them into these groups. For each of the 4 colors of cows, white, red, black, and yellow, there are 25 subdivisions, making a total of 100 colors. Such qualities as being colored like sandalwood, pulp, tilak, speckled, or having a head shaped like a mridanga drum, create 8 further groups. To count these 108 groups of cows, distinguished by color and form, Krishna uses a string of 108 jewel beads. He has his beads, and he's playing on his flute, and each time he plays his flute, he calls the particular name of the leader of those groups, and they come forward with the rest of their group, because there are thousands and thousands of cows, but they're all specifically grouped. It's very organized. The cows themselves organize themselves into these groups. Thus, when Krishna calls out, "Hey, Davali," the name of a white cow, a whole group of white cows comes forward. And when he calls out Hanksi, Chandani, Ganga, Mukta, and so on, the 24 other groups of white cows come. The reddish cows are called Aruni, Kumkum, and Saraswati. The blackish ones, Shamala, Dumala, and Yamuna, and the yellowish ones called Pita, Pingala, and Hari Talika. Those in the group with tilak marks on their foreheads are called Chitrita. Chitrita Tilak, Durga Tilak, and Tiryak Tilak. And there are groups known as Mridanga Mukhi, Mridanga head, Sima Mukhi, lion head, and so on. So this is a conversation in the Yugal Geet where the gopis are glorifying Krishna as he wanders in the forest. And the rest of this commentary is the gopis said, thus being called by their names, the cows come forward, and in this way Krishna would not forget even one of them. He also wears a tulsi garland bearing the fragrance of his beloved. Leaning on the shoulder of a friend, Krishna plays his flute, and that sound steals the hearts of the female black deer and brings them near him, the ocean of all transcendental qualities. These deer have given up their hopes for family life, just like us cowherd girls. So there's a very beautiful description in the 19th verse of the 35. I've never read anywhere else in the 10th canto such a clear description of the arrangement of the cows. So Krishna is from a cowherd village, of course. So everything is revolving around their whole life, their social life, and everything is around the cows. Their making of the milk products, etc. And when they travel, for example, from Gokul to Nandagaon, they take all their huge wagons and all their thousands and thousands of cows as well. And there's descriptions in Ananda Vrindavan Champu, how they make a half circle of their wagons, and then the cows, they're like in the center. So the cows are the very center of the life of the Brijabasis. So this is very inspiring for the devotees to appreciate. They are in the mode of goodness, Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. One commentator is saying, Srila Bhakti-Vikyam Bharati Maharaj, they're in Shantaras, but my Gurudev doesn't agree with that. He says there's no Shantaras, because the cows are very personal. But they can be sometimes called in Shantaras, it's sometimes written like that. But at the same time, the understanding that there's no, because Shantaras means neutrality. That's what it means. So the cows are certainly not neutral. They're dedicated to Krishna. So this Gopastami today is the celebration of Krishna taking out the cows, not the calves anymore. Because the calves are what Lord Brahma stole in the beginning. But then after one whole year passed, those calves had actually grown into cows. So this is the pastime we're celebrating today, and we're celebrating the worship of the cow. If you're wandering around here in Braj, you're going to see many cows with turmeric stamps, hand stamps, on their bodies in glorification, and people are feeding the cows in particular. Today we took one very sick cow to a hospital, hospital, We brought the cow ambulance, and we had to throw a lasso around this cranky bull and pull him in. We couldn't get him up because the hydraulic lift didn't work in the ambulance. I thought that was unfortunate, you know. But they dragged the cow, or they towed the cow to the clinic close by. There's one lady with many sick cows. And I've had reports that now it's okay. It's stabilized, but it was an old cow. But anyway, we're always looking for some type of cow saver. We should be all, because in the world today we know the shocking way that most of the cows are dealt with, which is so abominable. And Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he's told the reason for all the agitation and wars and disturbance on the planet is simply because you give no peace to the cows. The mother cows are abused, tortured, slaughtered, eaten in billions daily. So this is an extreme, unfortunate situation. So we should pray for those meat eaters to ease up a little bit, just today at least, you know, and give the cows a break. What else can we do? Well, we're helpless, you know. We're not activists. We're not going to go in the street and demonstrate. Where will that get you anyway? Just thrown in jail or something. But today we want to, in a heartily way, pray for some respite for the cow's dilemma in the world, and perhaps a little bit of peace may shine through. So these two programs today, and also it's the Tirobhava of Gadadhara Das. This is not Gadadhara Pandit. Gadadhara Pandit is directly Sri Radhika herself, directly, 100%. Swabhakti yoga lasanam sada praje biharanam hari priya ganagaram sachi sutta priyeshwaram sarada krishna sevanam prakashakam bakashyam rajanyaham gadadharam sipanditam guru prabham. This is talking about Gadadhara Pandit, directly the manifest. This is written by Swarup Damodar. This is the Gadadhara Astakam. But Gadadhara Das has been described as the effulgence of Sri Radhika. And very interesting because he has two distinct personalities. He's Chandra Kanti, a gopi in Madhurya Ras, and he's also Puranadi Gopi, who is a Sakhi of Baladev Prabhu, direct girlfriend of Baladev Prabhu. And it's very interesting because when Mahaprabhu sends Nityananda out of Puri to come to Bengal to preach, many of his Dwadasa Gopals, his 12 Gopals, accompany him. Abhiram Das Thakur, Sundarandan Thakur, Kamalakara Pipalaya, Gauridas Pandit, Parameshwari. And we're going to talk today also about Dananjaya Pandit. He's the 6th of the Gopals. So it's good, today we can remember these Gopals because both of these persons we're going to glorify are connected very significantly with Baladev Prabhu. And when Gadadhara Das is traveling with all the boisterous Gopals, they are so amazing, Nityananda's Gopals. They have kirtans that last sometimes 1 month, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and they don't take any food or drink for that whole time. And these Gopals, they uproot huge trees in their ecstasies, and they jump from huge trees. They just perform phenomenal feats because they're all Nityananda Shakti. They're the same as Nityananda Prabhu. And they become intoxicated in Nitai Prem. But Gadadhara, she gets a clay pot and puts some Ganga in and walks around trying to sell yogurt like that on her hip, like a female. So she's with the same group of Gopals, but she's actually, her eternal identity is that of a female. So Gadadhara Das is a very exceptional soul and extraordinarily fearless. There's the pastime prominently told where Gadadhara Das walks fearlessly into the assembly hall of the Qazi and requests the Qazi to please chant Hare Krishna. Qazi's a very fierce man. He's murdered Vaishnavas. He's done heavy things to the Vaishnava community. And yet Gadadhar just walks straight into the assembly. And the Qazi looks at him like, oh, this is just a simple Vaishnava. He doesn't even know fear. And is sort of very much, he just accepts him with some kind of amusement, you know, like that. He's not challenged by him at all. And Gadadhar Das fearlessly requests the Qazi to chant Hare Krishna. And the Qazi says, I will not chant Hare Krishna. And Gadadhar starts dancing and dancing. You already did it. You already done it. So Gadadhar is in ecstasy. The Qazi has chanted Hare Krishna, this mantra. So Gadadhar becomes very satisfied with that. If you go just north of Calcutta, near Panihati, just before Panihati, there's the Shripat of Gadadhar Das. And it's a very beautiful place. It's a whole museum. They've made it into a Vaishnava museum today. And it's very pakka, with all kinds of memorabilia from all the different Vaishnavas and groups and so on, are nicely organized and around. And it's all with polished wood, and it's well kept and so on. This is the home of Gadadhar Das. This is where he stayed. So there are many pastimes about Gadadhar Das, but that's just to appreciate his, let's see what I've written down. Yadaha. Edi Yadaha is his Sripat place. That's the name of the village. Edi Yadaha. And yes, I've already said all that. So it's quite remarkable that he's both a Saki in Madhurya, Ras, but he's also a Saki specifically with Baladev Prabhu as Purnananda Gopi. So this is Gadadhar Das. And then there is Dananjaya Pandit, who's described as the sixth Gopal. So I'm going to read these 12 Gopals and who are their identities in Braj Leela. And we can learn these and say them daily. It's very helpful. So Abhiram Das Thakur, who is that? Sridham Saka. Sridham Saka was Baladev's closest friend. So Nityananda Prabhu is so closely affectionate with Abhiram Das Thakur. Very special. And then Sundaranandan Thakur. He's considered Sudama. Sudama is like a Priyanam Saka. And he does all kinds of very special services for Krishna directly. But his Ishtadev is Balaram. Balaram is who he worships. And he's described as being an ocean of love of God. That's the general description of Sundaranandan Thakur. Then there's Kamalakara Paipalaya, and he is Mahabala of Braj. And he worshipped Lord Jagannath very beautifully. And he wanted to bring Jagannath from Puri. And he had a prayer to do that. And Lord Jagannath came into his dream and said, oh, I'm instructing the king to bestow upon you my the form that will be discarded, because every 12 years there's a new Jagannath. So that previous Jagannath was given to Kamala Pipalaya. And he said, well, how will I carry you? And he said, I will make myself as light as a cork. You know, a cork? Very, very light, nothing. So he carried him on a stick. But the condition was that once you put me down, I'm going to stay there. I'm not, you can't move me again. So there's a pastime there where eventually he comes into Bengal and he has to put him down because he has to go to the bathroom and stuff. And there's one young bhakta looking after him, but he doesn't know that the terms that he's going to stay in one place. And then he doesn't raise again. So he's just in the middle of nowhere, it seems. But then Kamala Pipalaya, he puts a little cottage there, and then his relatives come and put cottages there. Then more people come, relatives of those relatives, and eventually becomes a whole township. And you can go there today and you can see that original Jagannath Dev. Very, very, very beautiful. Who's celebrated on the day that he took up residence there. I've forgotten the date of that. But this is Kamalakara Pipalaya. And then there is Gauridas Pandit, who's very familiar, I think, with most of us. This is Subal Saka in Braj. And he has his place in Dir Samira. If you go to Dir Samira in Vrindavan, near the Vamsivat tree, because he was always engaging in very confidential pastimes with Radha and Krishna. He was one of the intermediaries to get them together. So this is Subal. So he takes up, as Gauridas Pandit, he takes up his residence at the end of his life near the Vamsivat tree in Dir Samira, which is a beautiful place. I'm sure many of you have been there for this parikrama. We always go to this Dir Samira, very beautiful place. And then, and his place is in Ambika Kalna. If you go to Ambika Kalna today, you see the Shripad, the home of Gauridas Pandit. His brother, Surya Das, his elder brother, had two daughters, Janava and Vasudha, who married Nityananda Prabhu. That was his elder brother. So it's all connected. Everything's connected. And then there is Parameshwari, who's Arjun in Braj, cowherd boy. And Kardaha is his place. There's a beautiful pastime also there. And now we come to Dananjaya Pandit, whose disappearance day it is today. Dananjaya Pandit he received a huge inheritance from his wealthy father, wealthy family, and he gave the entire inheritance to Nityananda and Mahaprabhu's movement. And he just maintained his life by begging Madhukari, just going around begging. So Mahaprabhu was very, very pleased with this mood. And you can go to his Shripad also. I forgot the name of the place. But it's local to Navadvip. It's not very far away. And you can see his samadhi there and everything. So he is the sixth, and he is Vasudam of Braj. He's the sixth Gopal. These Dwadasa Gopals, they accompany Nityananda all the time. So today we're discussing two of them, in principle, Gadadhara and Dananjaya Pandit. So we can repeat the rest of these. So. Then there is Mahesh Pandit, who is Mahabahu of Braj, and he's a great dancer. Then there is Purushottam Pandit. He's Stoka Krishna, famous cowherd boy, Stoka Krishna. And his home, his Shripad, is in Navadvip. Then there's Kali Krishna Das, or Kaliya Krishna Das, who is Lavanga Saka in Braj, not Lavanga Saki. Lavanga Saki is Sanatana Goswami. So Lavanga Saka, Lavanga means beauty. All these personalities are extraordinary, empowered souls. Then there is Purushottam Naga, and he is Dham of Braj. Then there is Udaran Thakur, and he is Subahu of Braj. And then there is Sridham Kolavecha Sridham, who is Kusumasava of Braj, who I think we're very familiar with, perhaps more, with Kolavecha Sridham, who would sell. Mahaprabhu would challenge him to take the lowest price. He was selling at such a low price anyway, but Mahaprabhu would just engage in, in joking with him and end up by getting it so cheap. And Kolavecha Sridhar would say, just take everything, don't argue with me. Go and buy somewhere else. Don't keep coming to me. But Mahaprabhu would insist. And in that 24-hour kirtan, then Sridham comes forward and he's told that actually he's Sudama Brahmana by Mahaprabhu in his previous birth. Because Sridham, Kolavecha Sridhar is poverty-stricken. He has nothing. He just sells these bits of banana. You can go in Navadvip and see his place there. It's just behind ISKCON by the Jagannath temple. So we can go and become familiar with all these personalities. These are the supports of Nityananda in Bengal. So it's helpful to appreciate who all these personalities are. We can post this on our thread, so you can, if you make a little like this, you can, with laminated, you can just say it daily. and it's Nityananda. It's his friends, etc. So, Dananjaya Pandit ki jai, and Srinivasa Acarya today. Srinivasa Acarya is very, very powerful personality. His father is called Chaitanya Das. Previously, his father was called, I can't remember the name, I looked up for it before, something Bhattacharya, very scholarly person. But when he saw Mahaprabhu's hair being all cut off in Katwa, he became demented practically, and he just ran around all day saying, Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya. For 3 days, he didn't eat or drink or communicate properly. He completely just like lost the plot, we can say, but totally absorbed in separation from seeing Mahaprabhu with his beautiful locks of hair. So he got the name Chaitanya Das. Everyone called him this name afterwards. His name wasn't that previously, but because he exhibited so much deep separation from Mahaprabhu, they gave him the name of Chaitanya Das. And then his wife is Lakshmi Devi, and they desired to have a son. Some inspiration came to them, and previously they hadn't wanted any children, but suddenly this inspiration came, and they decided, we'll go and ask Mahaprabhu in Puri. And as soon as they saw Mahaprabhu in the street in Puri, he said to them, before they could even open their mouths, I want you to have a son. Like that. So the son was benedicted by Mahaprabhu directly, and this is Srinivasa Acarya, a very empowered. He's like the second wave, the second generation after the Goswamis. After Krishnadas Kaviraj, then you get Srinivas, Shyamananda, and Narottam. These three personalities, very connected with each other. And they are carrying the current of Mahaprabhu's teachings into the world. After Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis have left this world. They're like the second wave, so to speak. So Srinivasa Acarya was very, very beautiful. His features, long lotus eyes, stretching down around to his ears practically. Everyone was totally charmed by just his looks, and his erudition was extreme. He knew all the Shastras in such a beautiful, compatible, comfortable way, and could preach so endearingly to the general people. They would hold, this is all described in Bhakti Ratnakara by Narahari Chakravarti Thakur. That whole book, Bhakti Ratnakara, most of it is about Srinivasa Acarya. It's a big book, written by Narahari Chakravarti Thakur. And originally, Srinivas took shelter of Narahari Sakar, who's the brother of Mukunda Sakar, the physician, the Ayurvedic doctor, who saw the peacock feather being fanned to the king, and he fell off the platform, if you remember that pastime. Anyway, and his son is Raghunandan Pandit, who is an incarnation of Cupid, it's described. So these are very exceptional personalities. So Narahari Sakar he was celibate, not married, and Srinivas took shelter of him. But Narahari Sakar told Srinivas no, because he wanted to take his diksha. And he was told, no, you go to Vrindavan, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he is your eternal guru. So at a later point in his travel, he goes to Vrindavan, and he takes diksha from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he takes shiksha from Jiva Goswami, because the three of them live together in the ashram, Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda. And they're all tight friendships, the three of them. A very powerful person, all so accomplished in their musical abilities in particular, because they would manifest these different rags from their playing music, which became so attractive to people. They would have huge pandals. They would spend 2 or 3 months preparing the pandal. All the villages around would know about it for months and months in advance, and they would gather all the foodstuffs. And then they would hold these festivals for something like a month. And all the Vaishnavas from all hundreds of miles away would all gather and all have extraordinary kirtan, etc. This is how the preaching mission moved at that time. Narottam was the same. When he was in, what's it called? Kettering? Kettering? Kettering.
Kettering,
Kettering, thank you. You're awake. Good. Kettering. Sometimes these names just slip out. Kettering, yeah. So that's north of Navadvip. It's about 6 hours driving today. They've got a nice highway there. You can go very easily. Although it's in Bangladesh today. So you can't, definitely today you can't cross over. But Narottam Das, he would have the same extraordinary festivals with, his brother is called Santosh, who became the king. Narottam is a prince. And he didn't want to take the kingdom. So his brother Santosh took the kingship, but was dedicated to serving his brother Narottam. And they would manifest the same mood of these huge, huge Pandal programs. And Shyamananda is the same, the three of them. This is how they propagated the teachings of Mahaprabhu after Mahaprabhu had left. Srinivasa Acarya had two wives, Isha and Srimati, and his Shripad is in Jajapur, which is in the Bardhaman district. And you can go there today and see a beautiful mandir is there with Srinivas there. And a little further north, you can come to his ashram. His ashram is there also, you can see that ashram. But his teachings and his writings and his inspiration to all the populace was tremendous. It was like another injection of Mahaprabhu. He wanted to visit all the different personalities who were with Mahaprabhu, all the Nityasiddha Parikas. And every time he would go to meet them, they would leave their bodies just before he got there. Again and again and again. He came to Puri to see Mahaprabhu. When he arrived, Mahaprabhu had left just previously, just like a few weeks before. He wanted to see Swarab Damodar. Swarab Damodar had also left. But Gadadhar Pandit was still there, completely in a mode of separation. And he was reading the Bhagavatam because he used to read the Bhagavatam every single day to Mahaprabhu. But his Bhagavatam was soaked in his tears. And he requested Srinivas, you please go and make me another copy of this Bhagavatam because it's become illegible. So Srinivas went away to do that. When he came back, Gadadhar had left the world. So he met him again. But his whole history is like that he just, then he went to Vrindavan to visit Rupa and Sanatan. And then on the way, he heard that they had also left. Gopal Bhatta was still there. And then very shortly after he left. But then he took shelter of Jiva Goswami and remained in the ashram with Shyamananda and Narottam. And the adventure of the books, you remember? Jiva Goswami wrote 400,000 verses, so many verses. There's 18,000 in Srimad Bhagavatam, so you can imagine 400,000 verses. That's a lot. So he had so many gruntas, and he wanted these gruntas to come to Bengal. So they loaded them onto the wagon, and all the Vaishnavas came and did huge puja and ceremony before they left, and it was a big, occasion. And then they took the books across, and then when they got to a place called Vishnupur, the books were stolen by Veera Ham Veera, one king. He was not really such a pious king, but he had a bunch of dacoits that worked for him, and he'd heard that a great treasure was coming through his country, and he sent his dacoits to steal it, but he told the dacoits, don't kill anybody, specifically. So when they were sleeping, all the books were stolen. Of course, these three personalities, when they woke up, their bereavement was just, they were shattered. The books that we've been entrusted, with our lives to bring to Bengal have all been stolen. So Srinivasa Acarya was like the leader of the three of them. And he told Narottam, you go to Khetri, to your Khetrigram, to your place, and do your preaching work there. And Shyamananda, you go principally to Orissa. Shyamananda did most of his preaching in Orissa. And Srinivasa Acarya said, I'll search for the books here. I can't leave without getting the books. So he searched, and there's a nice story how he eventually comes into the court of this same king, and he's speaking so beautifully, and his whole mood is so sweet and attractive that the king and the queen become utterly mesmerized by him. And then they ask him what they can do for him. And he tells them, well, they can help him find his books. And then the king says, well, actually, come with me. And he takes them into one room, and there's all the books there. And Srinivas is so, overjoyed to find the books again. But he stays with that place in Virahambira, King Virahambira. And he initiates practically the whole country of that province and the king and the queen in particular. And in his future pastimes, he's regularly returning to that place and encouraging the devotees from that place. So this is Srinivasa Acarya. And he moves around in Bengal, mostly, in Agardweep, I think it's called. Agardweep. I can't remember the name of the town. But his Shripad is Jajapur, and all in this area. And they're propagating the books. And of course, that means that all the books are being replicated. They're being copied and copied and copied and copied. So Bengal is like the root of all Mahaprabhu's missionary teachings. And the Nityananda Sakas that we talked about previously, they would point in the direction of Mahaprabhu. They didn't actually give Braja Ras the same way Mahaprabhu was capable of doing that. They are Sakas. They can give Sakya Ras, but they would point to Mahaprabhu. So that was the dynamic. So today we're remembering these three personalities. It's their separation, Tirobhava today. Gadadhar Das, and don't get confused between Gadadhar Das and Gadadhar Pandit. Know forever that the two are completely different. And then Devananda Pandit, Dananjaya Pandit, and Srinivasa Acarya. Srinivasa Acarya, these three today. So, Tirobhava, Vaishnava Tirobhava Ki Jai, Go Premanandi. So we've got 7 or 8 minutes left only to speak our Damodarastakam. This Damodarastakam is just becoming thicker and thicker and thicker. I was saying last night when we concluded, I was just amazed at the depth of Rasik explanations my Gurudev is sharing in this Damodarastakam. And I'm very satisfied that we decided just to read through this in the month of Kartik in Radha Kund, in Vrindavan, and to remember this incredible pastime and to reflect on the significance of all the teachings that is being given about how to perform bhajan, the nature, the internal bhajan, the external bhajan, etc. This is all being described very, very beautifully. The last thing we read on page 127, we're up to the 6th verse, and we've been describing constantly the dynamic of escalation from the 1st verse through to the 8th verse. It's just the current. This is why we read it every Kartik. This is why we sing it every Kartik, because all the verses are just increasing and increasing. Bhajan means catching the spirit of greed. If that spirit of greed is not, if it's vacant, if I'm complacent about it, if I don't really care too much, it's not going to turn on. But if we're hungry for this, that's the principal ingredient. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatomiti talabhyate tatra lolyam apimulyam janma koti shukritya na labhyate. This greed is the essence, this lolyam of the Rag Marg path. And what is the essence of the Vaidhi Marg path? What is the essence of that? Fear. Fear. In a mood of duty. Sometimes we can say, because it's described that the sun rides its orbit out of fear. Fire incinerates out of fear. Indra pours the rain out of fear. But we can also interpret that to mean duty. They do it out of duty. When you're doing something dutifully, there's some background of fear involved, isn't it? It's there. That's why you do it. This is my duty. If I don't do it, the sky will drop on my head or something like that. So I have to do it. So this escalation of ecstasies, and we talked about the 1st verse is describing Mother Yashoda capturing Krishna from behind because she ran faster than Krishna. So the instruction is we have to run faster than Krishna to him, to capture him. Not that we wait for Krishna to come to us. It's never going to work that way. We have to actually be so enthusiastic for Krishna that we are prepared to do anything to connect with him. Are we? No. But that's the purpose of Kartik, is to try and inspire inspiration in this direction through Nam, and through the association of the devotees, and through the association of the atmospheres of Braj. For example, when you stay here in Radhakund, you were saying, this Chinese lady at the back, she can't sleep at night because the energy is so strong. She's chanting all night, all night, all night, because the energy is so powerful here. And it is. If you connect with that potency, you can really progress radically, rapidly along in this path. So that first verse describes the pastime. The second verse also, Rudantam Muhur Netra. Krishna's rubbing his eyes again and again. So this is the Leela, and this is called Mantra Upasana. This is a single focus on one Leela. And then you get to the third verse, Iti Driksva Leela Biya Ananda Kunde. That a kund filled with ananda of pastimes. That's called Swarasiki. That's many, many pastimes tumbling at the same time through your consciousness. Not just one, but many. And this is considered a higher consideration. And then by the fourth verse, Satyabrat Muni is saying, I don't want liberation. I don't even want Navada Bhakti. I don't want moksha. I don't want Vaikuntha prem. I only want to see the form of Balagopal in my heart. His whole temperature, mood, has fine-tuned with hunger just to see that Balagopal in his heart. And Krishna, who is sometimes represented as talking to him, is astonished that you don't even want Navada Bhakti. You just want to see my form in your... But then the fifth verse, it escalates again. He doesn't just want to see the form of Balagopal in his heart. He wants to see the beautiful face. Just the face he wants to see now. So it's gone to a higher level again. This is the nature of this whole astakam. It's flowing. It's an incredible astakam. That's why we chant it every single Kartik. Every single Kartik we express the glories of this Damodar astakam. It's an eternal astakam. It hasn't just manifested from Satyabrat Muni. It was originally spoken by Narada Muni to Sonaka Rishi, who wasn't sure of his staibhav. That's how it's described. So it's going through different types of staibhav all the way. It starts in Dasya, and then it goes to Sakya, then it goes to Vatsalya. And we know the eighth verse is going to culminate in Madhurya. So it's escalating like that. It's phenomenal. It really is. And my Gurudev, his explanations and commentaries are really super illuminating. So now we've come to the sixth verse, and Satyabrat Muni just doesn't know what to do, how he can capture the aspiration of his heart, except by Nam Sankirtan. So this sixth verse is Damo Deva Dharam, Ananta Vishnu. All these different names of Krishna are chanted. And we describe the first Sankirtan was the gopis. Jayati Tedikam Janmana Bhaja Indriya Shashwadatrahi Daita Drishyatam Dikshutavakas Tvaidrita Shavas Tvam Vichinvate. They were calling Krishna through their kirtan, their Sankirtan. And he came. Napariyeham Niravadya. That's what he said. Forgive me. You have captured me. Not even in a day of Lord Brahma can I repay you for your exceptional love and affection you have demonstrated to me. So this is in the sixth verse that we're discussing. But you know what? We've come to the end of our time. So all we were able to do was throw just a brief summary. Maybe we should just read one page anyway. Excuse me. On page 129. We'll just read this one page, because this is where we're up to, I think. Is it not? No, maybe it's not.
127.
127. Just a minute. 127. We're up to one. Oh yes, 127. So let me read the last paragraph. Oh, we talked about Parokshvad. And then my Gurudev is saying, if anyone tries to adopt the moods of the gopis and hoping to achieve Krishna's mercy, performs Nam Sankirtan with great humility, unless this ingredient of humility is there, which is the spiritual principle quality. Because what is the antithesis of humility? It's pride. And that is the nature of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is proud of everything, whatever he has. Proud of his shoes, proud of his hair, proud of his spectacles, anything, anything, anything. Become proud of it, you know, because we have nothing actually of value. And we're trying to place value on material objects, our house, our bank balance, our family, and everything like this. And the conditioned soul spins on that circle of pride in their material. And that pride, what is the concomitant quality that goes with pride? It's envy. As soon as you start to be proud of something, that's because you're looking at somebody who's got, you think, imagine, less than you. Yes, look at me. I am so great, and he is so small. That's called envy. So envy and pride are synonymous. And humility and prem are synonymous. The more prem we have, the more humility. Who is the most humble personality in creation? Srimati Radhika. Srimati Radharani. No one is more humble than Sri Radhika. Swarup Shakti. She manifests everything. She controls Krishna. But she's so humble at the same time. This quality is exceptional. So we have to consider these qualities when we're practicing our bhajan specifically. So Krishna will not be able to restrain himself. He will surely appear directly before that person. Remaining conscious of one's relationship with Sri Krishna and free from all anarthas, the sadhak should perform sankirtan of the holy names that are bestowed upon him by Sri Guru. All of Sri Krishna's pastimes, with their inherent sweetness, as well as one's relationship with Sri Krishna in that particular pastime, are associated with his corresponding holy names. Like Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. These are all very rasik names. If we're singing Jai Jagannath, it's a different mood. You see? By the mercy of Krishna's holy names, the corresponding pastime will begin to manifest in one's heart. It is for this reason that Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, who is absorbed in relishing Mahabhav, Sri Radhika's highest mood, propagated the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Now there's an explanation on this. In the groves of Vrindavan, Sri Radhika steals away Sri Krishna's mind. The word harana means to steal, and hara is the feminine form of one who steals. According to Sanskrit grammar, when hara is uttered as a personal address to someone, it becomes hare. The root kris means to attract, and na means bliss. Therefore, he who gives bliss to everyone with the sweetness of his beautiful form, qualities, flute, and pastimes is known as Krishna. And there's a footnote here we can read. In the same way that Sri Bhagavan does not reveal himself to unqualified people, the Vedas express confidential knowledge in an indirect. Oh, that was from before, previously, Parokshvad. Yeah, we read that before. Okay. I'll read a little bit more. The Ram in this mantra is not Sri Ram, son of Dasarath. He who enjoys Ramana with Sri Radha is known as Radha Raman. The name Ram in this mantra is an abbreviated form of the name Radha Raman. But Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in his Chaitanya Charitamrita says that you can think of Ram as Balaram, or you can think of Ram as Lord Ram, because he just wants his followers who are fresh out of the forest to think of God in some way. So he says like this, but we shouldn't think that's the absolute reality. Junior people can think like that, that's okay. But the real meaning of Raman is Radha Raman. Shri Krishna plays on his flute and attracts Akarshana, the minds of the gopis, to him. He is therefore called Krishna. This mantra embodies so many sweet moods There is no transcendental emotion or pastime of Krishna that is not included within this Mahamantra, but they will only be drawn, I think, in one's heart by the mercy of Sri Guru. But they will only dawn, sorry, yeah, dawn, much nicer word. They will only dawn in one's heart by the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Initially, by the mercy of these great personalities, one realizes the sweetness of the holy name. Oh, these holy names are sweeter than the sweetest. Nothing is sweeter. Therefore, the possessor of the name, Nami, personally awakens within one's heart and enables one to enter into his pastimes. Okay, so we'll stop here. And tomorrow we're going to dive into the holy name more fully. So, Damodarastakam ki jai. And try to always pick up the thread from beginning to end. When you're chanting it privately yourself every day, try to pick up the thread with the verses. Where are they going? Try to understand the meanings, the what's it generating into the next place, the next place, the next place. Damodarastakam ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. You all sing so beautifully, the sound vibration. Congregational chanting. Exceptional. Exceptional. Breaks into the heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha. Kripa sindhu cha. Patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavaya namo namaha.